All right, let's get going, everybody. If everybody can grab their seat. The place is alive. There's good energy in the house. Let's give the Lord a hand for getting us all here safe and sound tonight. Welcome to Tuesday night. We're grateful that you're here. We're going to go ahead and open up in prayer. Mike's going to pray in for us. So if everybody could, let's give Mike a hand. If everybody could settle in, take a deep breath, and prepare for the prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you and we praise you for all that you are and all that you do. We thank you for your grace and we thank you for your tender mercy. We thank you that we're all here together above ground, Father, and out of prison. And we pray for the still suffering addict in Jesus' name. Amen.
Let's give him a hand. Of course, we're grateful that you're in the house tonight. We're also very, very pleased that we have a live stream option. For those of you that don't know what that is, anytime you can't make it here, you can tune into the Serenity Village Community Church Facebook page and also the YouTube option as well, and search for Life Recovery. On Tuesday nights and on Sundays, over 1,000 people check us out each and every week via those options, which is truly amazing, and it's been happening for a number of years. So let's give our production team a round of applause for providing the live stream. And we welcome our live stream guests as well. So now I want to welcome first-time guests. So if you're here tonight for the very first time in the house, we are grateful that you're here, but we want to take it one step further, and we would ask you if you would be kind enough to stand so we can really give you a proper welcome. First time anybody tonight, Tuesday night, back here? Thank you for coming. We're grateful that you're here. We are honored that you chose to come out and see us tonight. So we'd especially like it if you decided to come back next week, and if you do, bring somebody with you. So we'd be grateful to see you. So you're already family to us. So let's give our new family members one more welcome. We got a lot going on each and every week. And I failed to mention tonight is anniversary night. So let's give the Lord a hand for getting people through their sobriety anniversary dates. And we're going to do all that in a minute. But we're going to tell you real quick what goes on here at the church on a weekly basis. On Monday nights, we've got a big book meeting downstairs. It's totally gained steam and continues to gain steam. And that particular meeting is run by Mike. And where's Mike? There's Mike right there. Give Mike a hand. So if you're looking for a good big book meeting, come out on Monday nights. 7 p.m. downstairs in Fellowship Hall. We also have men's ministry on Monday night at 7 p.m. Back in the multi-purpose room. So if you want to check out men's ministry, show up for that as well. Tuesday night, you know where to come because you're here, all right? Wednesday night, we've got an awesome Bible study right here in the sanctuary. So please come on out Wednesday night, tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. for Bible study. On Sunday, we got lots happening. Can everybody say Sunday? Sunday. Church? 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 On Sunday. Let's give God a hand for church. So we have 3 services on Sunday. We have a 10 a.m. over right here in Crystal, right here where we stand. We also have a 12:30 over at our north location. There's Pastor Danny. Let's give Pastor Danny a hand. Tried to sneak in. I saw him. 10 o'clock here in Crystal, 12:30 over at our north location, and then back here again Sunday night at 6 p.m. So pick 1, pick 2, pick 3. Come on out, try it. Try a new one if you please. We'd love to see you on Sunday. We also have one more quick announcement. Let's welcome Miss Grace. Oh, that's it? Come on.
Just a quick announcement. This Friday, we are going to have a blood drive here at the church. Yes. And so if you want to sign up to donate blood, just scan that QR code and there will be available time slots. And we would love to have you here. It'll be down in Fellowship Hall. Thanks. 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right, thank you. All right, that's it. We got stuff to do, so we're ready for Pastor Jeff. If Pastor Jeff is ready for us, and here he comes, let's give him a big hand.
Hello. I was talking to the gentleman that is putting together the blood drive. And he said any Serenity people that go, they're in need of like 20 people, I think. He was going to do something special for. I don't know what that means, but he's a man of his word. So, you know, if you have it on your heart to do, as Grace just said, he said to lift it up to the community that he supports. It would be a blessing. I'm a little off right now for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on. But I'm grateful to be in your presence. When I walked around the room tonight and look at all these faces, met people for the first time in some cases, and the joy of this room, the gratitude of this room, over 400 of us, you know, not all of us, but a lot of us should not be here. And life is short. And tonight we're going to celebrate freedom anniversaries. And I think there's a difference between, and it's a process, like AA teaches us, it's progress, not promotion, right? And it's spiritual progress. You know, you first get sober, but you want to learn how to get free. You know, the what is addiction, but why? And last week, I came before you, and I just wanted to commend you for a second. It's been a tough week. My heart goes out to your family, Nate, your mom being here, and I know you lost your dad and your husband, and life is tough. But life's a lot tougher if you're not sober. And all that being said, last week we gave Steve's son his 2-year coin. And like I said, while we were doing that, I had Dalton, who's sitting right here, in the ICU with Steve, playing the live feed for him. Tonight, Steve is no longer with us. And on Saturday at 11 a.m. in this sanctuary, we'll be celebrating his life. And it's a life worth celebrating. It's a legacy life. So Doug and Dalton came up with the idea that no one will ever sit in this seat on a Tuesday night that Steve sat in for nearly 2 decades. And tonight we have his leather jacket and these rinky-dink shoes he wore. I usually don't share these type of moments publicly because there is a difference between a public moment and a private moment. And the reason I want to share this moment that Dalton captured at an ICU last week is because you were part of it. So it's not a private moment. It was your love that you gave Steve's son, Steve Jr. Something supernatural happened at the hospital. And I want you to watch this video. So as we sit here at the hospital in the ICU unit through Facebook Live, this is in your dad's ear. And he just opened an eye. Just a little blink. Because Steve Skronik, for the last 20 years, has been here every Tuesday. So, Levis, let's give it up with Steve Jr. for 2 years of recovery. Come up here.
Yeah. Steve, there you go, Steve. Yeah. He's going 2 years.
You see, life is always full of transitions. And I have prayed for you as long as I've known your father, which is 2 decades. And one of his greatest prayers is that you would find your sobriety. Now, if you haven't caught it by now, doesn't he look like his dad?
Bible?
Bible.
You are just like your dad.
Oh, you want to high five him?
So if God, Jesus, chooses to take him home in these next couple days, I commit to you
Look,
my
it's
life.
Steve Jr., Steve.
Just like I committed
Daddy's
to
right
your
here.
father my life.
Look.
He's getting his medallion.
I love you. I'm proud of you. I was with you when this journey started 2 years ago. You have earned every penny. And I just want to give honor where honor is due to his wife. She's got a heart of gold. Come up here.
Is this right?
Yeah.
You've worked your butt off. The Skoronics are no joke in their addiction. So for you to be sober, and you're not just sober, you're free. You're my brother. I got you. If Jesus chooses to take Dad home, we got you. But I want you to speak to your father right now, who's sitting in ICU with the phone next to his ear. You tell your dad what your recovery means to you.
Dad, I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for you. Forcing me to go and wanting me to go and telling me what I was missing. All these awesome people that are involved in your life. I love you. I love all you people for being so supportive, and it's the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. That man was my hero, and I don't know, I love everybody here. I ain't got nothing more to say, but thank you.
So, on behalf of Mr. Steve Skoronek, one of my best friends, a loyalist to the nth degree, never back down for nothing, I present to you a Serenity Village 2-year freedom chip. I love you.
There you go, Steve. That's your boy.
The last 3 words out of Steve Skoronek's mouth to his son that got his 2-year medallion that I have prayed for 2 decades were Bible, Bible, Bible. Let me just share something with you. When I met Steve Skoronek 20 years ago, he wanted nothing to do with the Bible. But that was his final message to his son. He did not speak a word after that moment. He did not move after that moment, but that moment moved him. Now, if Steve Skoronek had a message to his son, Bible, 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 we should take heed to that. When I met Steve Skoronek in Fridley in an apartment building that was a sober house that we acquired, I said, we're going to bring the faith. You know I'm no holy roller. He said, we're going to bring the faith component into it. And he said, I don't know about that God, and I can't say the word in church. That man, every morning read his 24-hour-a-day book. That man has touched thousands of lives. And tonight, through that video, he touched your life and my life. Let's give Steve a hand. I just had a pop-up, and I want to be a man of my word, but there was a gentleman I met that just got out of Anoka County Jail. Is he still here? Soul, can you go talk to that guy? Because he's a good man, and he wanted to inquire about our place. So would you please go sit next to him for a second and tell him about our place? Let's give Soul a hand. You know, I forgot. I told him I'd have somebody come talk to him, and then I forgot about it. So I wanted to make that wrong right. So I want to welcome these champions that are getting a medallion up to this stage. Come on up. We're going to pass the baskets. You know what we do with the finances. We help people get sober, we help people eat, and we help people incarcerated. Let's give it up for Sam for 1 year. Now this brother, literally, this happened like 10 minutes ago. He goes, I'm celebrating 1 year. I said, when? He says, now. I said, are you getting your medallion? No, I didn't sign up. I said, I'm going to really upset Doug right now. Let's get Doug over here. And here he sits on stage. Let's give Sam a hand. Since I've been in this brother's presence, his vibe is high. His heart is gold. His gratitude is electric. His program is strong. He's good people. You know, and when we greeted each other earlier tonight, you know, and he shared that with me, I mean, it just touched my heart and warmed my heart. But you carry yourself with class, gratitude. Your smile, bro, you got a great smile. And you just are layered. The word I have for you is gratitude. Because you know you shouldn't be on this stage. You know where you've been. You had to make a decision where you wanted to go. And over the last 12 months, you've been steadily walking towards that direction. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you if you're standing up for your recovery. You're standing for something, so you're no longer falling for anything. You're a made man after God's plan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Am I good?
Bro, you make me pivot in midair. You got to say something.
Yeah, so I guess, I don't know. Well, I just try to take it day by day. And like you said, I'm okay with the person I become. I'm there. I show up for my kids. I show up for myself. And I try to help others because it helps me. Reminds me where I came from and where, you know, I don't want to go back to. So I'm proud to be here, and thank you guys.
Let's give it up for Emily for 2 years. The word that's on my spirit, young lady, for you is sweet. And it's one thing to be sweet to other people, and her mother's here tonight. Let's give her mom a hand. She probably had to stick with her through thick and thin. And when you're sweet, when you drink, sometimes you're not sweet. But it doesn't mean you're not sweet. And you over the last 2 years had to, with the gift of being sweet, even though you probably weren't sweet when you were drinking, but because we turn into people that we're not when we're under the influence. But over the last 2 years, I've watched you learn how to be sweet to yourself. I've watched you learn how to be authentic, transparent, honest. And another thing that comes to my mind about you is you're not afraid to look yourself in the mirror. If you have a misstep, you'll own it. You had the great idea to pack your bags and move south. And that's really the 10th step, you know? We try things, right? But when you knew it wasn't for you, you came back home. Because that's maturity. And this is your home. And because it is your home, you make this place better. You care for this place. You care for the people in this place. You have an incredible soft heart. You're learning how to guard that incredible soft heart as the years go by, because this world can be mean sometimes, but you're no longer being mean to yourself. You're being sweet to yourself. And you owe that to yourself because you're an incredible young lady. You love Jesus. You love the Word. You love people. But the best thing is you have learned how to love yourself. You are no longer harming yourself. You are no longer doing things to yourself. And because you have become fully alive now, you're able to offer your service to other people at a greater capacity. But it's an honor to know you. It's an honor to watch you grow. But let me assure you, you haven't seen nothing yet because God hasn't even gotten started. Congratulations for 2 years.
Don't let me forget that. I'm going to be honest and accept the fact that this is terrifying, and it was last year. So much so that I forgot to thank Pastor Jeff. So I wanted to make sure I do that. First, thank you, God, for restoring my life and guiding me how to live it. I take notes because I have really bad ADHD, and I will ramble if I do not stick to this. I remember being drunk many times, laying on the floor in my apartment, defeated, and at one point I would even listen to the YouTube recordings. He's right, he'll kill your buzz and he'll be in your ear. But eventually I got conviction and went to Teen Challenge, and over time it was able to stick. But I wanted to make up for missing this last year because it was my first time and I was scared. But Serenity Village found me in a divine way. I didn't go out church hopping. It found me, and it was meant to be. And it's the reason that I'm sober, and that's a fact, and that's not something that anybody can take away. But it took determination, perseverance, and the willingness to follow God's calling. And that was something that you've taught me. So I want to make sure that I honor you and thank you, because none of us would be here if you didn't stick through it every day and get up and try again and be resilient. So I honor your leadership and your guidance, studying, and everything else you do behind the scenes that we don't get to see, that keep this place running. And I can't imagine my life without this place. And you're right, I ached when I was gone, and I drove 20 hours straight, and I came right home. But I'm proud of myself, and I did that. I do want to honor Steve Skronik as someone who faithfully brought candy to my classroom door every single Sunday. He wouldn't say anything. He would just drop it off in a bag. It smelled like cigarettes, but God love him. I've still got bags of candy because he'll just bring so much. But yeah, so on Sunday we had some candy, and I still have some, so it'll last a while. But we made sure to honor him. I'm so sorry I'm taking a long time. Grace for being the best mentor, and when I'm willing to listen, and always being there. You've been supportive and caring, considerate, but firm when needed, which can be often. So thank you for your leadership and taking the time to acknowledge people like me. You're a moment maker. And Jess Anderson for being my sponsor and always loving me and supporting me. Special shout out, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go quick with this. But it's important that I hit these people like Pastor Danny, who I think I said last year that he gave me a chance to step into being a leader downstairs when I had really no kids experience. And now it's been 3 years this month. And and again, they teach me more than I can teach them. Patience. God knows I need it. My mom, who is here tonight, again. Who's crying just like I am because I'm just like her. But who's my biggest cheerleader and coach when she can. She's the parent who may not personally understand, but will listen. And she'll provide resources and drive to pick me up from jail or the hospital. And she's my best friend next to Clint. But the three of us make a great little team. And Clint, who's purposefully looking away, every word in the world couldn't describe you and our relationship, and you're my best friend and support system. And without you in my life, I don't know where I'd be. You watched and helped me get and stay sober. We first started talking, and I was still relapsing. So this has been a long journey. But without you supporting me on a daily basis, I don't think I could have made it. And we met here at church, which I'm sorry, guys, I can't promise you'll find your soulmate, but it has happened a lot. But our journey together has been up and down all around, and we're better than ever, and the best is yet to come. So thank you, Boo. That's all I'll leave you with.
Let's give it up for Haley for 4 years. The cool thing about the recovery journey is, and Emily just referenced her mother, and we've got plenty of family members here tonight, is a person that's struggling usually has a ripple effect of struggle in the family. But since I have the honor, the privilege of knowing you, another honor that I have seen is your father, who now is a faithful, diligent member of this church. Let's give him a hand. I have watched him sit back in the corner with you. I have shaken his hands hundreds of times, but you are precious. You are diligent. You are determined. You are grit. You have so many things that have come against your life, and you never quit. You always show up. You always show up with a smile. You always show up with an incredible attitude. You always show up with zest. You always show up, you just brighten every room you walk into. And you have personally lit up my life to a level that only you could do. But you light up this community. You light up everything you go to because you are grit. You never quit because you are grit. You never complain because you are grit. You always elevate and persevere because you are grit. You always have a sunshine on a cloudy day because you are grit. You are grit. You are an example. You are precious. You are incredible. You are humble. You are powerful. You are poised. You are potent. You are a woman of purpose. And you are after God's own heart with God's plan. Congratulations for 4 years of extreme perseverance. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone who has been by my side for the last 4 years and past then. I don't know what I would do without you guys. Going to some of you seeking you all for counsel, anything I need. I just appreciate all of you just so much. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Daria for 4 years. Only you would wear that coat, brother. I love you, man. Everybody who's here with Daria, stand up. Look at this family. Let's give them a hand. I was in a meeting before the end of last year, a group meeting with our volunteers, and Daria was in one of these meetings, and it came heavily upon my heart. You know, you see the support of family, right? And Daria's like me. She ain't no joke. She got a little gangster in her. But that's what makes her great. You know, I mean, I just talked about Haley, about perseverance. It wasn't but a couple weeks back where she had fell and her lip was cut up, but that didn't stop her. And what I said to you in that group meeting was, with these incredible children and grandchildren and spouses, the level of respect that your family has for you. And that's only because you sow respect. And what I mean is, I don't just say S-O, you sow respect people. You S-O-W respect. And that's why you reap respect. But what I said to this young lady in that moment, and it hit her heart, straight in the heart, I said, through it all, you never lost their respect. Because one person can fall into anything, but the family never lost the respect, because Daria is Daria. And even if an individual may be doing things that are a little disrespectful, the respect was still there. I want to tell you on behalf of Pastor Blair, Pastor Danny, and myself, people like you elevate us. Because of that honor and respect, holding our arms up, holding of us in prayer, you are an incredible human being. God's got a huge reward for you, young lady, in heaven. But you got work to do down here until you get there. God's not even started with you yet. You are perseverance. You just, nothing's gonna stop you. It's because of your love. And that love is so potent because you receive God's love for yourself, and now you can love these 2 rows of people at a different level. And you know what? You ain't no joke. You know, what you see is what you get. There's no sugarcoating with you. Right? True that. She always comes with a different set of glasses, maybe a different color of hair, but she's a woman of style. I mean, look at how these pants flow into the hair. Not just anybody can pull that off. I don't even think I could pull that off. Thank you for your support. And it's genuine. Thank you for your love because it's authentic. Thank you for your motivation because it's deep. I always say that God protects an example, and you're an ultimate example. I would not be the person I am today without your prayers, your support, your motivation, your honor, your respect. I mean, you know, you truly are a woman of maturity, a person of maturity. Your yeses are yeses and your noes are no. You're no nonsense. You're incredible. Your joy is contagious. Your smile lights up a room. I never know what kind of eyelashes you're going to be wearing, but well, I know. I don't mean it like that.
Oh.
Look at you. Look at you. And I'm talking about your heart. I'm talking about your joy. I'm talking about your patience. I'm talking about your prayers. I'm talking about your worship. I'm talking about your study. I'm talking about your diligence. I'm talking about your determination. And I'm talking about your grit. Isn't she something, family? You've worked so hard for this moment. And only you know how hard you've worked for this moment. Only you knew what you had to come back from. But on behalf of the 3 pastors of this church, we would be nothing without you. Congratulations.
I want to show something real quick first here. These are all my word ups from my first service, September 5th, 2021. And you weren't here, it was Terry Francis. I have all of them, all my notes. I take all of them. They're very important to me. They've helped me to grow. I do my best to watch again. I haven't been real good at that, but I try to watch again and I go over my notes again so I can get it in my heart so I can do them daily. Because it's another thing. I carry these with me every day. The fruit of the Spirit that you had us collect week after week until we got them all, I carry them with me. Sometimes I have to read what each one means, and I also have to look at the acts of the flesh, because I do my best not to do acts of the flesh.
Good.
Because I did enough of that. I'm trying to just do the fruit of the Spirit. I'm happier when I do the fruit of the Spirit. Sometimes it's hard to do the fruit of the Spirit. But I do my best to do that. And I also keep all my coins. Even though my son tried to sell them to somebody. Where you at? Yeah, he did. He was like, let me see those, Mom. You don't need them no more. You already earned them. Somebody else need them. Okay, I wrote things down because I always forget something. Oh my gosh, do I got them backwards? Oh my God. Okay, first off, one year I did forget to thank God. God, He is who has brought me where I am today. He was still with me when I was drinking, and I was drinking. And he was there with me through my blackouts, hallucinations, all of that. And through all of that, and within my recovery, I learned that after becoming sober, that even when I was drinking socially, that I really didn't need to do that to have fun. I have fun now, and I don't drink anything, and I'm good. And what's sad about that, before I turned myself into an alcoholic during COVID, my idea of what an alcoholic was or is somebody who's under the bridge, or somebody who's standing on a corner asking for change. Nope, they're right in nice houses, mansions, everywhere. And I learned that. And I'm real grateful for that. Now I want to move on to my children. Alicia, Brian, and Christy, where y'all stand? What? Don't tell me no. Don't make me get my belt. You ain't too big, young man. No, I just want to thank my children because they have never, ever turned their back on me. Never. There was a time I even used crack. And I thought that I was better than all the other women that smoked because my house was clean. And, you know, we had TVs and stuff like that, but I was still using. I still wasn't doing what I should have been doing, you know, taking them on vacations and things like that with that money. I was using it to get high. Yeah, my family got jokes. Honey, you gotta wait till I get a job. Mama don't got no money right now. But I thank y'all because I grew up with them. I was 17 when I had my oldest daughter, Alicia, and I turned 18 2 months later. Then I was 19 when I had my son, and I was 23 when I had Christy. I grew up with them. I was nothing but a baby myself, and my mom sheltered me, so I really didn't know anything about anything, but they stuck with me, and like I said, they never, ever turned their back on me, and I thank y'all, and I love y'all. I love y'all more than y'all could ever know. What I'm really trying to say is, do y'all got like $15? Okay, and thank y'all. Y'all can sit down. And okay, I'm sorry, I'm messing up over here. I want my 13, well, it's not 13 here, because one is in Atlanta. My 13 grandchildren to stand up. Yep, little Darius first. I am so proud of y'all. Y'all are not trouble. Sometimes hard-headed, but that's what we do. We're hard-headed. Grown-ups are hard-headed. But y'all are amazing people. And I can't believe y'all are getting as big as y'all are. Y'all just blows my mind. But I thank y'all for being in my life. I thank God that he gave me y'all. And my 2 great-grandsons, Jakai and Jair. I love you all. Y'all can sit down. And there is one more person in the audience I would like to stand, and that is my son-in-law, Anthony. Well, my son-in-love. Didn't I tell you wasn't performing? I know you are. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. That's what I was just. Yes, that's what I was just getting ready to say. He's fighting himself. And I love you. I love you. Okay. And last but not least, oh, I'm sorry, my mouth is so dry. I am so sorry. Oh, and there goes my balance. I'm sorry, y'all. My mouth is dry. Thank you, darling. Okay, and last and not least, Pastor Jeff. Pastor Danny, Pastor Blair. These 3 men, I have learned so much from how God speaks through them. I have learned more from the Bible and about myself than I ever have in the 3.5 years I've been going here. And this is the honest God truth. I was raised in the church. I was raised in an Episcopalian church. But I went to Jehovah's Witness, I went to Baptist, I went to Pentecostal, and I enjoyed myself there, and I learned some things. But what I've learned here, man, amen is right. I've learned so much even about myself. I stopped cursing, you know, because a lady my age should not be having a nasty little potty mouth. you know, but even like with the fruit of the Spirit, just being a better person than I was or that I am today, being better tomorrow. And I learned that from you and from Pastor Blair. I also want to thank Shauna and this songbird over here and the praise team with Marcus right over there, because whew, when they be playing and singing, whew, I just feel it. I'm just really happy. I'm ready to wrap this up. I'm just really thankful, and I'm thankful to all the volunteers. I am one of them. I have one thing to say to people who are new to recovery: get involved. Get involved. Yeah. Me, myself, I clean bathrooms on Saturday. One of the reasons why, my butt sit on them too. You know, why? I'm no better than nobody else to clean no toilet. You know, I just started back with sandwiches. I want to thank Mike over here, because he's my ride to AA, and and to Big Book. I have multiple people that I can count on, like Karen in my house. Karen Louie, she is the bomb. Even if it's doctor's appointments that I can't get to, she gets me there. Cherise, yeah. I have so many people that get me where I have to go when I need to go. And I'm grateful for that as well. And I'm going to wrap this up for Doug coming and give me that that hook. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Jen for 5 years. The word, there's a couple strong words in my spirit about you. One of which is tenacity. The other one is confidence. You've got a different level of confidence over these last couple years. And that confidence is layered in humility. And I know bits and pieces of your testimony, but another word that comes to mind is perseverance. Another word that comes to mind is voice. Another word that comes to mind is excellence. There's a word that's on there's something strong in my spirit, and I'm going to prophesy this to you. I know what you do professionally, but I believe there's something regarding ownership in your future, because you operate in that level of excellence wherever you may be working. There's ownership in your future. My guess is you've been promoted, most likely, but there's ownership in your future because you have this level of confidence. And the confidence is layered in grace, and the grace is layered in humility. God has given you a certain grace for a certain place that has clearly allowed you to run your race. And I'm here to tell you, you're about ready to expand your space, because you know the grace of God. You are incredible, but I can't shake it. I cannot shake it, so I have to prophesy to it. There is ownership in your future. I don't know what that is, but I think it's something to do with your profession. It's strong on my spirit right now because you've learned to have a voice. You've learned to operate in a level of confident humility. You've learned how to persevere. And there is something coming. I got the chills right now. I can't explain it. All I can say is congratulations. I'm excited for you.
I didn't do this on my own. It's a we thing. I needed every single one of you to get here right now. Pastor Jeff, thank you for providing a safe place for me to live, a place for me to grow up from the little girl I was when I walked in these doors that first day, a place for me to grow my relationship with Christ. Thanks for providing that for me. Thanks for following your heart and giving me that. I don't think I would have listened to anyone else. Thank you. I needed you. Thank you. Thank you to Rachel that I see out there for being the one that was relentless the first night that I came into Serenity and got me here. And it was the first night that I stood right here at the altar and I threw my hands up and I gave my life back to God. And I hadn't done that since I was a little girl. That's truly where my recovery journey started. It was only but a couple weeks prior to that I got serious and made the heart decision that I was gonna get sober, and wrote it down on a piece of paper, so that made it solid. But then Rachel got me here, and everything changed. Everything changed. When I walked in the doors that night, I was on a mental health commitment. I was certifiably insane. I had a case manager running my life. I had to fight tooth and nail against the state to move into Serenity homes and convince them that I was sane enough to do this and not go live in a place. I saw my life was only gonna go down and there was never gonna be a rung to grab a hold of where they were gonna put me. And by the grace of God, He restored my sanity. He took the overwhelming desire and mission that I was on to destroy myself away from me. He took it. And it really was, in some ways, kind of like, boom, He just took it. He lifted the spiritual weight off of me, the thing I couldn't understand, why I couldn't get it, all the times I wanted to get it, but I couldn't, and I didn't understand this piece. The spiritual piece, that was the component I was missing. Logically, it didn't make any sense to me because it's not logic, it's spiritual, because we fight a war that is not our war to fight, and we're trying to fight in our own strength, we're never gonna win it, right? We need God. He's the only one that can win this war for us. So my prayer for every single person that's sitting in here that's in sober living or treatment is that you understand and that you grasp the gift that you have in front of you right now. That you shift your perspective to I have to do this to I get to do this. Without having had the gift of absolute desperation that was given to me because every bit of my rights were about to be taken away. And without having to fight to come in here and then come into every Tuesday and get this piece of paper handed to me every week with the key to life written all over it. You have the keys to the kingdom handed to you on a piece of paper every single week. Value them, treasure them, learn them, write them on your heart, and use them to fight your battles. Because there ain't nothing else that's gonna fight the battle against the devil that's trying to take you down on a daily except Scripture. So find 2 or 3, write them on your heart, and just use them in a loop every time he comes at you, throw it back at him. He'll stop him. To say thank you to all of my friends that showed up. Can you guys all stand up because this blows me away. I sat for so many years of my life in solitude. I had 0 solid people in my life, and I really thought I was a piece of garbage. And then thank you, dear, I love you. But I got sober and I put God in the driver's seat and I got my hands off the flipping wheel. And look at all these solid people that want nothing but the most amazing stuff for me in my life. It blows me away. So for everyone that's in sober living right now, that's thinking, I have no idea where this is gonna, you guys can sit down. I love you. For all of you that think, this isn't gonna go anywhere, I'm stuck in this twin bed, I got that one shelf in the refrigerator, and this sucks. I'm never gonna get anywhere from here. Don't look at it like that. Use that meeting you have to go to every week to network. Find your people. We need multiple villages. I know this real bad little child over here needed multiple villages to raise her. So make multiple villages. Dream big. Set your sights high. Dream really big. I had a dream when I lived across the street over there in Douglas House to own a home one day of my own. And this last year I did it. You guys, we can do this. I love every one of you, and I couldn't have done this without each and every one of you. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Nate for 9 years. It's been a tough week for his family. Nate lost his father unexpectedly within the last week. And earlier tonight, he came into my office and asked for a word. And the word that he was looking for wasn't comfort per se, because he knows where to get his comfort. The words that came out of his mouth were gratitude. Gratitude to do what he's been done and what he's been taught in the rooms of AA, the room of Serenity Village, the rooms of his family, the rooms of these incredible people that also occupy 2 rows here for him tonight. 9 years. After 9 years of freedom, usually people kind of slow down their recovery. After 9 years of freedom and sobriety, usually people start cutting out meetings. After 9 years of sobriety, you probably wouldn't attend a small group after this teaching that usually goes till 11 p.m. at night when you got a precious little one at home. Speaking of that precious little one, Miss Willow, come to the stage. Come on. She said to me earlier, can I bring my cousin with? I said, well, you're the boss. You make the call. Let's see what happens. You see, little Willow has very deep conversations with her father. Nate said to Willow a couple years ago, one night, and he looked at her and says, Willow, thank you for allowing me to go to meetings. So, young lady, your dad's sitting here with 9 years of freedom, and you're all over this chip I'm going to give him in a minute. It's because of your support of him. It's because of you allowing him to go to meetings that you have the incredible father that you have today. That you have the incredible man as a role model that you have today. You have a father that goes to work every day to provide for you, to make sure you have an incredible life. And the reason why you deserve an incredible life, young lady, is because you are an incredible young lady. You are sweet, you are kind, you are a leader. I want to spend 10 seconds speaking to Mom. You have raised an incredible son. A man of character, a man of integrity, a man of humility, a man of servant leadership, a man of hard work ethic, a man after God's own heart. The Bible says, train a child in the way they should go, and when they're old, they will return to it. So I know you lost your husband, but because of who you are and who your husband is, this man sits on this stage with his daughter as a single parent because of the lessons you taught him, because of the lessons your husband taught him. So little Willow, you know you're one of my favorites. She draws me pictures, but I want you to tell your dad what his recovery means to you.
It means a lot to me.
What else? What kind of a dad do you have?
A great dad who loves me.
You can feel his love, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
He talks to you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He supports you.
Mm-hmm.
What does that make you feel like?
Good. Like he loves me.
And you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you want your cousin to come up here tonight?
So she can see what it's like to be on stage with my dad.
Your mom better get a video of this one. What does it feel like to be on stage?
Good.
Are the lights bright? So you two young ladies, you're strong. You're powerful. And every day you go to school, you're on a stage. Because people are looking at you to be examples and leaders and women of courage. And that's so for the two of you to come on this stage, you already have those attributes. And you know why? Because you got a family full of people that set the example for you, and you got a man. Let me tell you something. You're one of my closest friends. You get me. You support me. We understand each other. Your heart is precious. Your steps have purpose. Your mind is clarity. And your heart is gold. You are a good friend. You are a good friend to him. You are a good friend to me. You're an incredible man, incredible father, incredible son, incredible business owner, incredible person. But your highest priority after him is her. Willow stole the show. I love you.
It is hot up here, isn't it? When I went into your office tonight, my heart is filled with gratitude, and I owe so many thanks to my family for supporting me, and my mother who prays, who taught my sister how to pray, and my nieces and my daughter how to be powerful women that pray. With my dad passing last week, you know, and up here right now, it's like a ripple effect. You know, there's so many people that need to just keep coming back to these meetings for this ripple effect to keep happening. You know, and Tony, thank you for all your love and support all the time, and just I know you always are there for me. You know, walking through the steps with me gave me a different level of forgiveness, and to be able to restore that with my family on a whole other level that I never knew, how to forgive myself, how to forgive everybody, and to repair all that stuff, to be able to be there right next to my dad last week, and to know that he's okay, and I'm okay. And Willow, this 9 years, there was a level of gratitude that I needed to find when we lost your mom, when you were only 11 months old. And I prayed to God on what I needed to do, and he shined that gratitude thing in my heart, to be able to overcome some things and to be able to search for a level of gratitude in a time of a struggle, or when things aren't just great, to search for a gratitude and to be able to walk through everything. And Pastor, thank you for all your hard work and your willingness to do this for me. I've become a better man because of your teachings, to be able to communicate with people on a whole other level that I never thought I could ever do, and where I was 9 years ago. And, you know, when Keith got his coin, you had everybody say, how many people have been in prison or in jail? And, well, I had to raise my hand, and I had a lot of explaining to do when I got home. So, I just Thank you to Pastor Danny, Pastor Blair, and everybody who helps push this church forward. This is a very important part of my recovery, and God bless you all.
Let's give it up for Keith for 11 years. You know, life is a journey. And I've been on this journey with him and Karen for 11 years. That's over a decade. Keith lived with Steve Skowronek at the apartment building in Fridley. I had the privilege of remarrying Keith and Karen because Karen said, I'm done. But they reconciled, and I was privileged to remarry them up at the cabin. I have had the privilege of baptizing their grandchildren at their old house. I have had the privilege of walking alongside, and another thing about Keith is he can handle correction, and he doesn't take it as rejection. I was walking with Keith, and he had to go to prison years into his recovery. Never quits. Never gives up. Lives a very humble life, but a very grateful life. But to see the restoration between him and Karen, and then in turn between him and his children, and now be able to have a front row seat to watch them with their grandchildren, that's life. He worked an overnight, as he often does, and covers multiple shifts. But yet here he was still on a Tuesday night, no different than what I just said to Nate. 11 years later, every excuse in the world, which is valid. I haven't slept in 24 hours, but yet he's still at the meeting on Tuesday. That's pretty crazy. On behalf of Steve Skowronek, thank you for being a good friend. On behalf of the Hill family, thank you for being a good friend. On behalf of the Serenity Village community, thank you for being a huge part in building this community, stabilizing this community, praying for this community. Another thing that's really cool about you, you're a knucklehead. You often speak when you shouldn't. But you're real. You're authentic. You're genuine. And here you sit 11 years later, through thick and thin, through hell and high water, through mountaintops and deep valleys, through God moments and severe attacks, through desperation to prosperity. You have peace that transcends all understanding. You have the power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead. But the most important thing you've got is your family and this family. 11 years, and he's still got tears of gratitude for his sobriety in his eyes. I got you. I love you. These are destiny relationships. Congratulations.
First, all glory goes to God. And honoring what Pastor Jeff has provided, what God has provided through Pastor Jeff, the friendship, the mentoring, the corrections. I do a 10th step every day. Sometimes I do it several times a day. I'm not a perfect person. I've never pretended to be a perfect person. I do speak when I probably shouldn't speak. I say what's on my mind, and maybe it's the right thing, maybe it's the wrong thing, but once it's out, it's on the floor. It needs to be dealt with. But I've also learned that, like with watching Doug throughout the years, what a very grateful, humble man does. And I'm working on it. I'm striving to be better daily. I have to mention Steve Skronik and give honor to Steve, because he's your old school AA guy that did find faith along the road, but he wasn't afraid to say it like it was. He was not the sponsor that was going to come and give you a hug, wipe the tears out of your eyes, and say, "It's going to be okay, bud." He's going to ask the hard questions. He's going to want to know why you didn't call him. And then he's going to throw a few explicatives at you explaining why you should call him, if he's going to be your sponsor next time. Men like that grow within a community like this. This community builds leaders, it shapes leaders. I work with the best team of techs that I've seen. I've seen a lot of techs over my years at different organizations, and the ones that are at River Place, their minds are all in the right place and their hearts are doing the right thing. We are also all different. We're all different for a reason. Not one man can communicate with everybody and get the same message across. Well, except for Pastor, he can do that. I don't have that. But I do know that the reason I am here is to serve. I don't know how long that is. I don't know what the magic number on that is, but I know that I am here to serve. For my wife, I owe you so much, and not just gratitude, but just everything that we've gone through, everything that we've grown through. We are so much better now than we were 12, 13 years ago, 15 years ago. Karen would tell everybody we're together for 45 years. I tell everybody that we're going to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary because the gifts are cheaper. But she loves me for what I am. She loves me for what I can provide. I would encourage everybody in this room to look around. If you don't have a sponsor, find a sponsor. Don't find the sponsor that you're going to want to sit down and just laugh and giggle with. Find the sponsor that has what you want and is going to drive it home in you. With that, I say thank you.
All right, it's 8:06. How many people stopped drinking and doing fentanyl at 8:06 and went home and went to bed? But if you have to go, go. If you have to go, but this is a message, facts or feelings. How many get caught up in their feelings? You might not want to miss this one, but if you have to go, we totally understand. Grace is going to sing a song. I'm going to go to the bathroom. If you got to go, get out of here. But if you want to stay, it would bless me to see you.
A pathway is broken and the signs are unclear, and I don't know the reason why you brought me here. just because you love me the way that you do. I'm gonna walk through the valley if you want me to. No, I'm not who I was when I took my first steps. And I'm clinging to the promise that you're not through with me yet. So if all of these trials bring me closer to you, then I'll go through the fire if you want me to. But you never said it would be easy. You only said I'll never go So when the whole world turns against me and I'm all by myself and I can't hear you answer my cry for help, I'll remember the suffering that your love put you through. And I will walk through the darkness if you want me to. 'Cause when I cross over the Jordan, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout, I'm gonna look into your eyes and see that you never let me down. So take me on the pathway that leads me home to you. And I'm gonna walk through the valley if you want me to.
Sometimes you got to walk through the valley. I'm not the most educated person in the world, but I haven't seen a lot of things growing on top of mountains. Even that's where I'd like to prefer to spend the majority of my life. But things grow in the valley, and it doesn't mean that life is going to be easy. So, Lord, I thank you for another day above ground and out of prison. I thank you for the trophies that were on this stage tonight. I ask that you think through my mind and speak through my vocal cords. I ask that you continue to have the teams of this community prepare for the celebration of life on Saturday. I love you and I thank you. Have your way here. In your name we pray, amen. Let's give God a hand. So I got a couple new nuggets that I'll share with you later on, and we're not going to be before you long, but we talked about facts versus feelings, right? And you're going to have both. This message is not to tell you it's wrong to feel. It's okay to feel. But how you process your feelings, and you know, I've been through 11 treatments, and I'd go to treatment and learn how to feel, right? Then I'd go back home to the home I wrecked, and I didn't have a right to feel. And I was at Gateway Detox, Soul and I, last night. And for an hour of time, 4 or 5 young people, the majority of them fentanyl addicts, were given permission to feel. What an honor. What a privilege to be in a safe space to just feel. So Paul is now talking to the church of Corinth, and it's important that you get the context here, that the church of Corinth was a messed up church. The church of Corinth had a lot of drama in it, but in spite of the drama, there was still a strong message being preached. In spite of the drama, the worship was strong. In spite of the drama, salvation was happening and transformation was happening. So it's okay to be part of a community that may have drama in it. Quite frankly, I think if there wasn't going to be any drama, it might not be effective. Because if it wasn't effective, the devil would leave it alone. And because it is effective, there's going to be drama. So Paul, and it's important for those of you who are not maybe biblically versed to understand who the Apostle Paul is. And this eliminates all of our excuses why God can't use you. The Apostle Paul used to kill Christians. And then God used him to write the majority of the New Testament. I see Donnie and Jordan in the house. Let's give them a hand. Good people. Paul was trying to straighten the church out with these challenges, and at first they got real rebellious against them. But eventually they embraced him in the second letter. You know, people get caught up in their feelings, and they were caught up in their feelings. Now in 2 Corinthians, the assignment for all believers, but let me take it a step further since this is a recovery meeting. The assignment when you get sober, if you're gifted with freedom and sobriety, is to be of service. God saves a person to serve. Now it's nice to be served, but the highest form of living is giving. And Paul is teaching them now, therefore, since we have this ministry, I want to break that down real quick. Hey, man, you're here. Since you're here, let's do this. Since God saved your life through his grace, not by your works, let's do this. Like I told this young man that I met, and I believe he's in treatment, when I went up and greeted him, and I've seen him for the last several weeks, that you can do this. You can do this. You deserve this. He's meek and he's quiet, but that means he's powerful. So since you have this ministry, understanding that this sobriety thing, this ministry thing, this AA thing, this NA thing, this CMA thing, this SA thing, this GA thing, this AAA thing, this AA thing, is a gift. I love it when people come one week and come back the next like that young lady. I mean, it's both of you. It was a real blessing to see you again. You know, I love being around people. See, this guy's like me. We've done a lot of dirt. I could never pull this off. But he's good people.
Yes, he is.
You know, and he's had some struggles, and he ain't shy to tell me about it. And that's what makes a person authentic. So since we have this ministry, but why do we have this ministry? Why are you sober? It's because of God's mercy. That's the only reason why we have this. Not because we do everything right. Not because in 20 years of doing this, far from perfect, that we made all the right decisions. It's because of God's mercy. And one thing I've learned about addicts and alcoholics, they want to be forgiven, but they don't want to forgive. They want people to let go of stuff, but they won't let go of anything. Right. They're going to make sure you pay the price for what you did. You infringed, now I'm offended. But they expect everybody else to let go of the offense when they do something to them. It's dangerous. Because there's something called karma, In the Bible, it's called reaping and sowing. So yes, they might not react to your offense when you want to make them pay the piper. But let me assure you, someday you might be in court and the judge might not give you a favor and no wonder why, man, I've done anything right. It's because you disrespected them. So Paul is teaching us, because of God's mercy, we have this ministry. And I want to break that down real quick. And this mercy allows us salvation. This mercy allows us opportunities. And this mercy allows us to live a blessed life. And it says we do not get discouraged and we do not lose motivation. That's why I said, to the people with multiple years up here tonight, these people are still motivated. And isn't it something, a guy like me that has been gone through 11 treatments, everybody had to motivate me a week sober. That's crazy. Nobody had to motivate me to smoke crack. I didn't need a bunch of cheerleaders to say, hey, Jeff, go buy an 8-ball. I was motivated all by myself. So he's saying this, and so when we accept Christ, when we accept sobriety, we also accept the responsibility that comes with it. And that's one thing Steve Skronik always taught me, take responsibility. Everyone that God gives this gift to, he anoints you to do it. He gives you the empowerment to do it. God did not save you just to sit around. If you're lazy in your recovery, you get put to work in your relapse. Don't forget about how much work it was to stay high. It's easy to get high, but it takes a whole lot of work to stay high. It's easy to get drunk, but it takes a lot of work to stay drunk. See, I like being around people know about mercy, that extend mercy. That's why I love seeing you tonight, brother. I watched you extend mercy to somebody, and you had every reason not to. The person was dead wrong, but you extended mercy. That taught me something. And because of that, you've been extended mercy. Because if you don't extend mercy, you won't be extended mercy. And trust me, we all need mercy. And we learn these things, and Paul is teaching the church of Corinth that, it's not because you're all good, it's because he's good. And mercy, so what is mercy? Mercy is like you didn't get what you deserved. But if you got a mindset that you're going to give people what they deserve, that's going to circle back and hit you right in the face. Mercy is also that I don't deserve this life I'm living. I smoke crack. I did heroin. I drank a lot. I went missing in action. I had to be dropped off at 1800 Chicago because I was detained. But because of God's mercy, and God forbid that I ever forget that and become too high and mighty and too big for my britches. Thinking that all that in a bag of chips. I said this on Sunday. You ain't all that in a bag of chips, and I don't want your bag or your chips. Right, Rhonda? You know what the streets look like. You know what they taste like. You know what they smell like. And you know what they feel like. But you've overcome it because of God's mercy. Paul knew that the great work that he was doing was not because of him. See, if I was God, I'm clearly not, I wouldn't choose Jeff to lead this community. I would not choose me. But because of his mercy, you and I have been chosen. But if I'm being honest, I wouldn't choose me. Rhonda says facts. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but you're talking about you? Well, I'm talking about me too. And that's the we. That's the we. If I was God, I'd kind of be like probably use angels to do this. If I was God, maybe be like Elon, right? Let's create a couple of robots that will do exactly what I tell you to do, but that's not who God chose. Yeah. Why choose humans that get twisted and offended and quit? Humans that say one thing and do another. That's all of us. We're all hypocrites. I'm a hypocrite sometimes. We're all hypocrites. So why does God choose humans and not robots or angels? He tells us right here. So his power may be demonstrated in. What Pastor Blair and Pastor Danny do day in and day out is not them. It's the power of God in them. See, let me tell you who God uses. They're all over this book. Noah, what did he use Noah for? What did he use him for? Tell me. For what reason? To save people, to save the planet. He was a drunk. Abraham was old. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Joseph was abused. Moses stuttered and was a murderer. Rahab was a prostitute. Gideon was fearful. Samson was a womanizer. Naomi was a widow. David had an affair and he wasn't a murderer. Elijah was suicidal. Job was bankrupt. Isaiah preached naked. We don't need any of that up in here. Jeremiah was considered too young. Jonah ran from God. The Samaritan woman had multiple divorces. Zacchaeus was too small. Mary Magdalene was an adulteress. Martha worried about everything. The disciples, his top sergeants, fell asleep. I mean, if I'm Jesus, like, man, I just ask you to pray for an hour while I go shed blood, sweat it. Can you just hang out and pray for me for an hour? He came back and they were sleeping. Now, a robot wouldn't have been sleeping. An angel wouldn't have been sleeping. Peter, the road dog Peter that cut off an ear. I like having Peters in my life. But Peter stood right in front of Jesus and said, hey, I got you. I'm your OG. I'm your road ride or die. I'll never deny you. Jesus looks right at me. You'll deny me 3 times when the rooster crows. And he did. But he still used him to build his church. Man, he even used Lazarus, and he was dead. So he can use a fentanyl addict. He can use somebody that was successful at failing. He can use people that used to take shortcuts that were nothing but setbacks. He can use heroin addicts and drunks and sex addicts. He can use whoever he chooses because you can't choose who God will use. So now we got that straight, right? Do we got it straight or not? It's not because of you. It's not because of me. It's because of him. It's not because we're always good. It's because he's always good. Last week I talked about the glory of God. What did you see in that video in the intensive care? God's glory. That's like Mr. Hill said to me, we're not related, but he said God had his friend wake up and speak. I mean, you want to be around that stuff. I mean, I have the privilege of doing it every day at one of my jobs, to see men come in, tore up and the floor up, and watch the transformation happen. God uses jacked up people to help jacked up people. Who's jacked up? 100% of all hands should be raised right now. If I was to spend tomorrow with you for 24 straight, we'd find out how jacked up you are. And then you'd probably look at me and say, man, I can't believe pastors. I'm not saying I'm in disobedience or sinning, and I'm not saying I haven't. but I mean, just be real, right? I ain't perfect. But what I am saying is we're just people. We're people that sometimes that are insecure. We're people that have had trauma. And by accepting your recovery, by accepting Jesus, as that's who you believe in, a deposit has been made in you. That deposit accompanies a gift. When this journey started, I suffer from anxiety. My mom used to have to take me to the ER because I was having panic attacks. And the only time I calmed down is when the doctor would put an EKG on my chest and I would see the little things and he said, no, your heart's okay, then I could breathe. God can use anybody. Now I'm talking in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people every week. I'm no longer afraid of my own shadow. I've learned how to be honest about my insecurities. For those of you who don't know the story, I have a bathroom in my office over there, and every time I'm privileged to come and teach you something, I get on my knees around the filthy toilet and pray, God, use me in spite of me. And people say, that's nasty. But I don't want to ever forget where I came from. It's called the toilet. Puking on heroin. Hungover puking. I did it one time in front of a big business acquisition on the 16th floor of a high-rise in Edina, some corporate building. I went in, I was going into the boardroom to do a development deal, and a guy in a suit walked in, and there I was on my knees. I'm not advising this. And I got out of the stall, and the guy says, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm praying. I ain't ashamed to pray. I mean, I wasn't ashamed when they saw me in the corners. I wasn't ashamed with that bubble. I wasn't ashamed with no cartilage in my nose. I wasn't ashamed with no skin on my thumb from the lighter. Yeah, I got a little nervous when I'm at a family function and I got vodka in my Gatorade bottle, and they're like, why is he shaking? You see, life is full of life. If somebody told you recovery is easy, they lied to you. But the Bible says that if you're a servant, God will thoroughly equip you for every good work. And now Paul talks about light affliction in 2 Corinthians 4 and 10. In ministry, you have to separate feelings from facts, and that's hard. But he says we have this precious treasure, the good news, in unworthy vessels of human frailty. So this is why God uses humans. It says this right here. So the surpassing greatness of the power is shown to be from God and his sufficiency, not from ourselves. It ain't about you or I. Man, I love being around guys like Tyler. And there's two Tylers, that Tyler and that Tyler. I see the purity of heart. That's who God uses. Not that any of them are perfect. Not that God even expects us to be perfect. But it says that God is God. Paul is trying to encourage them to stick with it. See, we're polluted. We're unworthy of this life. But like I said on Sunday, the smartest of the smart, the most spiritual of the most spiritual, the most talented of the talented, the most pure of the pure, Mary, isn't good enough to be used by God. I like smart people. I've been teaching the word for 20 years. I can't pronounce 20% of the words in the book. But I do it. Because I've learned to do what I don't want to do so I can do what I want to do. Because if I continuously do what I want to do, I can end up doing like I always did, what I didn't want to do. We are polluted. So if we can play as the founding person of Serenity Village, it's humbling to sit in those chairs and hear 7 people say, without this community, I'd probably be dead. But that ain't me. That ain't because I'm all that. That's not because I don't make mistakes. That's not because I don't get caught up in this chaos once in a while. It's because of God. And as long as you keep pointing to him, he'll continue to point to you. We're trust funds. We're trust funds, brother. If God can trust us, God will fund us. So don't be tripping on a brother that God's funding. It just means God trusts him or her. So Paul is teaching us now, and it's interesting to me, it's not because of who we are, it's because of who God is. And he says we are hard pressed in every way, hedged in, but not crushed, perplexed, unsure of finding a way out, but never driven to despair. We're hunted down and persecuted, but not abandoned to stand alone. We're struck down, but never destroyed, always carrying around the body of the dying Jesus in the resurrection life of Jesus. Paul knew the more he suffered, the more powerful he would be. Tim Barron, who's traveling for business right now, Tuesday nights before we meet out here, we meet as in a mentoring session, have done it for years. And I walk into the room and I say, man, it's been a terrible day. I mean, I'm stressed. And it's true, it's a fact. He goes, oh, tonight's gonna be real good. When you're really pressed, when you're really stressed, and that's what he's saying now. You're hard pressed, but you're not crushed. You're perplexed, but you're not in despair. You're persecuted and hunted down, but you're not abandoned. You're struck down, but you're not actually destroyed. We have to separate fact from feelings. And so what are feelings? And where do feelings come from? Feelings are emotions, primarily coming from the brain. Specifically from complex networks within limbic systems, which process information from our senses and experiences, interrupting them emotions like happiness, sadness, fear, anger. Essentially, our brain assigns meaning to our bodily sensations, which are feelings based on our past experiences. So whatever you're facing today is tied to what happened before. And that's why you got to allow yourself to separate fact from feelings. How many people have had some pretty hard past experiences? And how many of us have allowed those past experiences to pollute our present circumstances? All of us. The brain, as regions, amygdala, is a crucial role in processing emotions. Now, if you did cocaine, LSD, marijuana, heroin, methamphetamines for years, I wonder how do you call the word? What did I just call it? I'll read it. Amygdala. This probably isn't doing very good. I didn't read it in the medical journal. Smoke a lot of crack and your brain will really increase its power. Travel around with the Grateful Dead and do LSD all the time and you're really going to think straight. No, that's not what happens. The neurotransmitters, the dopamine, I mean, that's why a lot of us have to go on certain medications when we get sober, like Suboxone, because our dopamine's all jacked. Sol and I were at a conference in Denver, and we went to a study about Suboxone and all these other things. And they say an addict that have used those type of drugs, not Suboxone, like heroin, fentanyl, any addict, even drinkers, they don't have the dopamine that normal people do. So when you get sober, you automatically wake up jacked up. Because your dopamine is not where it needs to be because of the drug and alcohol use. The impact of experiences. So Paul is teaching us, now the feeling is an emotional reaction, a vague, irrational. How many people get irrational when they're in their feelings? Showing emotions or sensitivity, often unreasoned opinion or belief. A fact is something that is proved to be true. But there's a truth and there's a higher truth. A fact is you're going to get hard pressed. You're going to feel pressure. That's a fact. And so that's a fact. There's going to be seasons of your life, just because you're sober, it doesn't matter, where it seems like everything is going wrong. And you're going to feel hard pressed. Hard pressed speaks to pressure from all sides of life. It feels like a crowd crushing you. But you got to learn how to handle it. But when you're experiencing pressure, which is a fact of life, your feels are going to come in. It says you're hard pressed, but you're not crushed. But it feels like you are. It feels like you're crushed. But you know what? I'm hard pressed right now. It's insane right now. I don't remember the last time it hasn't been. But I ain't crushed. I move my hands. I can move my feet. I'm walking. Feels like I'm crushed because I'm pressed. But the reality is, I'm not crushed. But sometimes your feelings can infect your reality. And again, we have to feel it, right? A fact is that you're going to get perplexed. That's going to be a fact. You know what's perplexing? An addict who gets sober that doesn't want to work a program. That's perplexing to me. That doesn't want to work the steps, that doesn't want to get a sponsor. That was me. I'm sure my family was perplexed. Perplexed means not knowing what to do, not knowing what you're supposed to do under a circumstance. See, you can be perplexed even if you're doing everything right. Right now, you're actually doing good, but you still feel perplexed. And then you'll ask yourself, what did I do to deserve this? Why does this stuff have to happen to me? Let me tell you something. Doing ministry is harder than smoking crack. If I'm being honest. It's easy to smoke crack. But staying in this game for 2 decades, this has not been easy. Because you're going to get hard pressed and you're actually going to feel like you're crushed. You're going to be very perplexed and you're going to feel like you're in despair. And you'll say to yourself, isn't there more deserving people to go through this other than me? Because if you are perplexed, you're going to feel in despair. Despair is a person that doesn't have hope. The fact is, you're going to get persecuted when you start doing good. The fact is, people are going to talk about you. The book of Mark says if you don't want the 100-fold blessing, then it says, along with this comes persecutions. People are going to come against you. That's a fact. It's also a fact that you're going to get hunted down. Like, man, I'm sober now. I mean, I know I'm not perfect, but why do you got to hunt me down and try to take me out? So you're going to get persecuted. You're going to do that, but that's a fact. But persecution only shows up when you're making a difference. Persecution didn't show up when I was smoking crack. Why is there drama even in this community? Well, sometimes it's because the knucklehead leading it. If I'm being honest. But all that being said, it shows up when you make a difference. So why does Paul saying this to the church of Corinth? Because there was drama and there was this, there, and that. Now, if there wasn't transformation, if there wasn't 7 people getting multiple years of freedom tonight, if over the majority of us have been sober longer today than we've ever been in our life, well, that's why the devil shows up. If we're all in here drinking tonight, he'd leave us alone. When you see families being restored, when you see Willow, whose mother died of an overdose, standing tall on the stage with her father as a single father, thanking her dad for it, that's what the devil don't like. He wants to take Nate and Willow out. But now Nate got 9 years, you don't think the devil's going to show up in here? I was asking about you the other day, and your leader said, man, if I had everybody like him, it would be good. But that ain't what they used to say about you. So you're going to get persecuted. You're going to take your ball and go home and quit? Time is a snitch, it'll always tell. Are you going to be a one-hit wonder? When it gets real tough and real hot and real ugly, I'm just going to take my ball and go home? No. My man's going up to Duluth. He's just graduating treatment, North Star. Let's give him a hand. And then at the end of the day, when you feel this way, you're going to feel like nobody's in your corner. Nobody understands you. You're going to feel abandoned. I understand that. Like, I can talk to the smartest of the smart, my mentor, my pastor, my bishop. And when I'm feeling persecuted, when I'm feeling pressed, when I'm feeling perplexed, I'll go to him for counsel, but sometimes it doesn't even help. Because you feel alone, but don't stay alone. In order to be known, you got to make yourself known. But But you're gonna feel alone, but that's not a fact. If you could be in this room right now and you feel alone, that is not a fact, it's a feeling. There are still over 150 of us here. You ain't sitting in a room by yourself. That is not a fact. You're not alone, it's a feeling. The fact is, you're gonna get struck down. That's a fact. Addiction, the devil, you ain't gonna win all the rounds of life. That's a fact. You're gonna get knocked the wind out of you. Life will knock the wind out of you. And you don't even have to do a self-infliction to get the wind. I mean, we know how to knock the wind out of ourselves through our addiction. But when life shows up and people are not nice, it'll knock the wind out of you. But just because it knocks the wind out of you doesn't mean you're knocked out. You see, that's one round. Get back up. Man up. Woman up. You're gonna get struck down in life. I'm not talking physically, I hope not at least. But life's gonna hit you. But you're not destroyed, that's a feeling. You're still here. But when you get knocked down in life, in your recovery, it feels like you're never gonna get back up. The keys to living in facts, not feelings, is to learn how, as I taught the other week, to deal with your thoughts. And I don't have time to deal with it tonight, but we learned that a feeling creates a thought that then in turn, the thinking happens. You are not your thoughts, but you are your thinking. And it's important to understand, as I studied this, it talks about the importance of this. Feelings come first and then a thought. But the less thinking going on, the better we're going to be. It's not about what you're thinking, it's about who you are. It's your state of being. And it talks about that. When I was reading this, it blew my mind. And it talks about trauma. It says, you are not your thoughts. And think about that. Think about, maybe you were praying yesterday, and all of a sudden some nasty thought came in your head. You're having a good day, and out of nowhere, a really crazy thought. You are not your thoughts, but you're the thinker of them. That's biblical. So when I was studying this, it blew my mind to really look at it, that we got to take these thoughts captive. There's a war going on between our feelings and the facts. And tonight, Miss Shauna, who's very deep in this, the addiction-focused facts. Anchoring truth, and if you want this, there's copies over there. Facts, focus on what's true, not what addiction tells you. The letter A in the word facts, acknowledge the reality of your situation without judgment. Healing starts with honesty. The letter C of the word facts, connect to a source strength greater than yourself, whether that's faith, community, or purpose. The letter T of the word facts, trust the process of recovery even when it's uncomfortable or challenging. The letter S of the word facts, stand firm in your worth and identity. You are more than your addiction. Those are facts. Feelings in addiction, honoring emotions without letting them lead. The letter F in the word feelings stands for feel your emotion fully without numbing or escaping. Think about it, that's why we get high. Feel it. Like when Bishop goes to Stillwater Prison on Christmas, all the guys are saying, well, first thing, he's no joke. They walk up to him, they're like walking down the corridor, and that's my pastor. And you know what he says? I ain't your pastor. If I was your pastor, you wouldn't be in prison. Because you don't listen. But the guy said, I don't want to ever be here. Feel it. Feel the fact that you miss your children. Feel it. Just feel it. So feelings aren't bad, but the feelings now and how to work with the facts. Feel your emotions without numbing them or escaping. And you don't have to go and get high to escape them. You can just quit and run. People leave every day. I see it all the time. The E in the word feelings is examine where emotions might trigger old patterns or thoughts. The other E in the word feelings is embrace grace for yourself and others as part of the healing journey. The letter L in the word feelings is let go of what's outside of your control and focus on your next right step. That's recovery. Do the right thing for the right reason, and eventually you'll get the right results. The letter I in the word feelings is invite your moments of stillness or reflection to process your emotion in a healthy way. The letter N in the word feelings is navigate challenges with coping skills that support your growth. The letter G in the word feelings is ground yourself in practices that bring you peace, whether it's nature, prayer, or mindfulness. The letter S in the word feelings is surrender your shame and guilt. Your past doesn't define your future. Recovery-based facts and feelings that Shauna gave me, the letter F in the word facts is face reality. Acknowledge what is true, not just what you feel. The reality is you're pressed, but it's also the reality you're not crushed. The reality is that you're perplexed, but the reality is you're not in despair. The reality is that you've been struck down, but the reality is you're not destroyed. The reality is you will have people that come against you to hunt you down, but the reality is you're not alone. So I'm so grateful for these two men in the front row, and many other people as well that have stood with me. Face the reality of the situation. Facts, the letter A, acknowledge a higher power. Recognize a source greater than yourself to restore you. That's step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. The letter C of the word facts, commit to the truth. Stay committed to honesty, both for yourself and others. That's step 5. Admitted to God, yourself, and another human being the exact nature of your wrong. The letter T of the word facts is take inventory. Regularly reflect on your thoughts and actions. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. The letter S of the word facts is surrender control. Let go of the need to control outcomes and trust the process. Step 3, made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him. So the feelings, the letter F is feel without fixing. Allow emotions without trying to numb or escape them. Step 7, humbly ask God to remove your shortcomings. The letter E of the word feelings, embrace imperfection. Accept that feelings don't make you weak, they make you human. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove our defects of character. The letter E of the word feelings, engage support. Share your struggles in a safe space with a sponsor, a group, or a trusted person. Step 5, again, admit it to yourself and another human being the exact nature. The letter L, exact nature of your wrong. The letter L, let go of shame. Guilt is over what you have done. Shame tells you who you are. You're not damaged goods. Just because you made some mistakes doesn't mean you are a mistake. Learn how to pass the test so you can have a testimony. Get away from this shame. You're going to feel these things. Share your struggles in a safe space, a judgment-free zone. For you just to be you and feel. Right, Kelly? Release the guilt and shame that weigh you down. Steps 8 and 9. Became willing to make amends to all the people we had harmed. Step 9, made direct amends wherever possible, except to do so would injure them or others. The I is invite stillness. Oh, that's hard for me because I got ADD, ACD, ACDC, HDF. But invite stillness. Use prayer, meditation, or mindfulness to regulate your intense emotion. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve your conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of his will and the power to carry out. When you're feeling, do these things. You're going to get the feels. The N in the word feeling is name the lie. I like what you said to me earlier when we were talking about those dumbbells that you want. You said you're a man of your word. Name the lie. You're not a loser. Name the lie. Life isn't over. Name the lie. Even though you grew up on the streets, it still means that you can be a working man with a legitimate job and provide for yourself and other people. Name the lie. Life is not over. Life has just begun. Name the lie. You are still a pastor. Name the lie. Name it. Release it. Let go of it. You're going to feel it. Oh, I feel a lot of stuff. I thank God tonight with being hard-pressed, with being perplexed, by being persecuted, and by being struck down for 20 consecutive years of ministry. I thank God for the things that I didn't do, that I wanted to do. Oh, I wanted to. And the boys wanted to too. You get into these feelings, and the last one is G, give it to God. Turn over what you can't control. So as we close tonight, are your feelings messing up your facts? You did not come this far not to go farther. This is your time. This is your season. You are pressed. You're pressed, but you're not crushed. You are perplexed at times, but you're not in despair. You will get talked about, but you are not alone. You will get struck down, but you are standing here today, and you are not destroyed. That prison sentence did not destroy you. It's a lie. Life is not over. Life has just begun. Get around the right people that know how to back in the day, the way we were mentored, Keith handled it too. My mentor and I'm his, we talk about feelings. We get checked in our feelings. God forbid if you walk into somebody's life today and say, dude, your feelings are off. They'll get offended and get more in their feelings. So now you just got to step back and let karma take its place and reaping and sowing take effect, and then life's got to show them. It really is hard. It's hard to watch people. I'd rather have my mentor humble me than God or life humble me. You see, he says, I know your deeds. You're not hot nor cold. You are lukewarm, so I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. Have these strong feelings slowed you down? Romans 8, that God works all things together for the good for those that love him are called according to his purpose. Are you in a state of feels right now where like, this one's bigger than God. There's no way God can do this. There's no way I'm out of this one. You got to have the mindset somehow, some way, God's going to work this out. Are you in despair? Have you lost hope? Have you lost your anchor? We have this hope of the anchor for the soul, firm and secure, that our inner sanctuary behind the curtain. God's got stuff for you that he hasn't shown you yet because you're caught up in your feels. I'm telling you what, anybody serving the military here, stand up. Let's give these men and women a hand. Now, I don't want to be on the front lines of battle with a brother or sister that's caught up in their feelings. I mean, it's no different than life. Yeah, I feel, but I'm talking corporate, real estate, business, acquisitions, development. If I see the feelings going, whoa, I'm like, oh, hold up. He ain't ready yet. He ain't ready yet. That don't mean he never will be ready. He just ain't ready yet. Because when it gets real tough, I need the grit. And the tough gets the grit. But let me tell you something about my God. I got a track record with him. Yes. This isn't the first time I've been hard pressed. Yeah. This isn't the first time I've been perplexed. This isn't the first time that Mr. and Mrs. Perplexity has visited my house. This is not the first time that I've been struck down. This is not the first time you have been struck down. So we got a track record with him. So you can do it. I said to Soul last night, we had a crazy day, high production. We went and spoke, like she said tonight, we got to go speak at Gateway. And then we went out for some rinky-dink dinner at Pancheros. Because she tells me it's healthy. And I said, I really don't feel like working out tonight. Because that's not an option. You're going to work out tonight. Even though you're hard-pressed. Even though you're perplexed. Even though you're being persecuted and hunted down. Even though you've been struck down. You're going to do it. It feels so good to have somebody believe in you. It feels so good to have somebody give you a little encouragement, like you do often. You can do this. You can do this. I said to Jesse, man, it was good to have you there on Sunday night. Now he's here again. I mean, this dude's one of the highest level of heart. He says, let us not become weary in doing good. You're going to get weary. But what do you do when you get weary? What are you going to do when you get weary? You have to learn how to take a licking and keep on ticking. God didn't choose you so you could quit. He's empowered you to do this. I wish I would have believed that my first treatment. Man, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache, a lot of destruction, a lot of jail time. Man, if I would have believed it, they wouldn't have taken my kids away. The things that could have taken you out, but you're still here. 6 months clean, you told me earlier tonight. The things that should have taken you off this planet. The things that should have taken your grandson off this planet. And now he's on a post in the church. Oh my God should get some glory tonight. Because of his mercy, I am still here. Not because I've made all the right decisions, but because of his mercy. And this is my last close. Say, wake up. Wake up. I'm selfish sometimes. I just like being around you. Honestly, you're awesome. I mean, for Daria's whole family to still be here at 9 o'clock at night, that shows loyalty. You're called to do greater things than you're doing now. It's time to get back up if you've been knocked down. That was one round. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't know. But right now you're up. So let's learn how to stay up. And you learn how to stay up when you wake up. And don't strengthen what you lost, strengthen what remains. God will never bless what you lost. God can only bless what you got left. And I was privileged enough to walk around this room about 2.5 hours ago to greet you. And when I touched you, I touched greatness. I believe it for you. I'm nobody. I'm a recovering crack addict, heroin addict. I was a terrible father. But by God's mercy, my son's in this room right now taking pictures of me. Say, wake up! Wake up! Before it's too late. You might not have another be back. 3, 4 weeks ago, there wasn't a be back on this stage. The devastation of his 2-year-old son almost crushed me. He didn't even know what devastation is yet. So we're praying. We're interceding. Little Willow. Can you imagine if Nate was still getting high? She wouldn't have been up on this stage. she would have been with another family. So don't tell me my God ain't real. I ain't no holy roller. I'm not religious. My man back there with that flow, brother, I mean, you got a heart on you, bro. Just heart. I want to be around heart. I'm done. I love you. Here.